Hello once again. So here you go. All right, so mods are done from that last video. I'm just going to give you a quick sound clip. So I got the guitar plugged in. I got the settings pretty much the same as when I did the demo of the original amp and cab. I'm still going to, so the guitar is just plugged straight in. Still going to use a cheap earth guitar. So nothing fancy. And again, if I go back here, I have, so see that big hole down there? So I've just cut a hole, I've opened up the cab, and as you saw in the previous video, I installed a Jensen P10R speaker. And it's still not perfect. Like, I still have the highs rolled right off of the amp, and the mids are kind of scooped, and the bass is full, but the tone is just much more manageable. And with pedals and my my EQ with the Fromel mod, I think this thing will be killer tomorrow night when I gig with it. I might post a few videos there just so you guys can hear what it sounds like in a live application, and with the direct box line out connected as well, or the direct box, the red box line out, see what it sounds like out front. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to put the camera right in this area, just in front of the speaker, so you guys hopefully can hear the low end, that opening the cabinet produced, and yeah, give you a couple of sound clips on both channels without adjusting my EQ settings. All right, so here we go. This is a clean channel. Like I said, just guitar directly into the amp behind the phone there. And so this is what it sounds like. Speaker swap, and I just cut a hole in the back of the cab on the back panel. The amp is totally stock like it was in the first video. And I will post the link to the first video in the description so that you guys can see, can listen to that and hear the difference. So I was using this guitar and that amp. The only difference was it had the vintage 30, and the back panel was totally enclosed. There was no opening, no air. Now it has the P10R Jensen, and it's got some air. Again, amp is super quiet, no distortion or hiss, no buzzing, and you guys are positioned right next to that speaker. So here's what it sounds like. Nice, clean, punchy, good articulation, and not like ear-piercing, scratchy like it was, you know, when I first got it. And again, that's just on the bridge pickup, so if it was going to be shrill, you would definitely hear it. All right, let's switch the channel. There we go. I don't know if you can hear that, just a little bit more noise. And I got the gain at about 50% and the master at about 9 o'clock. And again, didn't touch the EQ, and this is what it sounds like. know what you guys are hearing on your speakers at home, but for me, right here in the basement, huge difference from the stock vintage 30 and the closed back cab to an open back cab with the P10R. And you guys might be saying, yeah, well, why didn't you just open the cab and keep the vintage 30 in there? I did. I did try that. I pulled the back panel off. I just leaned it back a little bit just to let some air. And I used the vintage 30, and it still sounded kind of thin and boxy. And I know it doesn't really make sense. A vintage 30 is a big 12-inch speaker with a huge magnet on the back, and my Jensen P10R is obviously a 10-inch, and it's got this tiny little square thing on the back of it. You wouldn't think that it would make that much of a difference, but I really believe that these Hughes and Kettner's amp are not, these Hughes and Kettner Tubemeister amps are not paired well with the cabs and speakers that go along with them. I don't know, it just, to my ears anyway. And again, I'm a kind of a telly guy, single coil, really spanky pickups. That's what I like. It cuts through the mix. Possibly with humbuckers or Gibson style guitars, maybe with, you know, the fatter, thicker sound. Those cabs would be great. Because I know a lot of Marshall cabs that, and most people who use Marshalls have, you know, Gibson Les Pauls or humbucker style guitars. Those are closed back cabs, and they're usually vintage 30 equipped. And they seem to sound, you know, fine with plenty of mids and plenty of punch. But I find that a Telecaster with this particular amp, with that setup, is just, it's just not good. So anyway, if you guys have this amp and you feel that it's just not delivering, maybe you know, cut a hole in that back panel and let the speaker breathe a little bit. Let the air move in there. And maybe change that speaker to something a little more, maybe, I don't know, like, I call it spanky, but I think what I'm looking for is a kind of low mid, like a low mid frequency speaker. It really cuts through the mix, and it seems to highlight this amp a little better. Again, let me just grab this. These Hughes and Kettner amplifiers. They come stock with some fairly, you know, probably just low-end Chinese tubes, which is typical for like Vox amps and Fenders, and like, you know, unless you're paying top dollar for these amps, they're probably not coming with NOS tubes or JJs or NOS, like new old stock tubes. So I don't know. So I'm guessing probably a tube change would be good too. But as far as the amp goes, totally stock. Modding that cab and speaker made a huge difference. So anyway, guys, I hope this helps someone out there. I love experimenting with this stuff. And regardless if I keep this amp or not down the road, I'm going to keep this cab because I can. It's now a 10-inch cab, and it has an in and out, so I can pair it with my other 10-inch cab that I use for other amps that I have. So either way, it's going to be a keeper. But I thought I'd chime in. Tomorrow, maybe I'll post a quick video of the gig if I can somehow, you know, get some recordings in there so you can hear it live and in the mix, and we'll see what that sounds like. And yeah, and that'll be the end of the Hughes and Kettner series, if you will. All right, you guys take care. God bless, and always be safe, and comment if you want and if you can. Take it easy. Bye bye.